Hello everyone, FPL Wrapped here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be previewing Game Week 31. We only have 8 game weeks left, which means it is critical that we get all of those small decisions correct, and I'm here to help you to the best of my ability. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So guys, before we jump into today's video, I just want to give a massive shout out to Ultimate Champions who continue to sponsor the videos here on this channel. Ultimate Champions is the up-and-coming fantasy football game. If you like fantasy football, as I assume you do watching this channel, and you also like the ability to collect cool versions of card, maybe you're interested in NFTs or non-fungible tokens, if any of those things apply, you will enjoy this game here. As you can see, I am playing the game. I think the alpha's just finished now, but I was on the alpha playing it. It's incredibly slick. It's incredibly fun. It gives you an opportunity to get to know teams from the Championship, from the Scottish League as well, and it's just a super exciting game and a project that I think you want to get on sooner rather than later. Essentially, you build up the best possible team you can with all of these sort of rare cards or rare NFTs. You build up your team. The better that team does in real life, the more points you earn. The more points you earn, the better the possible rewards, and then you can trade those players and those cards on the market with friends and other people as well. So if you want to get involved with this project and you want to download a very cool game, or you just want to support the channel, you can do all of that stuff for free by clicking the links in the description. So there's the link to their Discord server. If you click that link, join their Discord server, you'll get the ability to get some pretty cool free packs and also just get updates on the game. And if you also want to join, follow them on Twitter as well, I'll leave that link below. So there'll be 2 links below, Discord server number 1, Twitter link number 2. Join the Discord server, follow them on Twitter, and also support the channel. It's a win-win-win-win situation. But thank you to Ultimate Champions for continuing to sponsor the videos here on this channel. Right, guys, let's jump into it. So we are previewing Game Week 31 here. Before I actually begin with today's video, I'll try and remember to link it above. It will definitely be linked at the end of the video as well. I have created an end-of-season guide for Game Week 31 to 36, but we also discussed 37 and 38 as well. So if you're interested in sort of chip strategy, when to play your chips, how to navigate the back end of the season with the final 8 game weeks, please go back and watch my most recent video, because today is going to be specifically focused on 31 because we've already done the strategy for the rest of the season. So once you've watched this, or before you've watched this, go watch that other video. But regardless of whether we're looking at just 31 or not, we still need to realize the importance of the immediate double and blank coming up, which is Game Week 33. So I think it's critical, before I go on to recommending players, recommending things that I think you should do for 31, you need to decide for yourself and for your team, what is your current plan for Game Week 33. So deciding whether you're free hitting in 33 or wildcarding in 34 will change absolutely everything, because a lot of the teams that are sort of doubling in 33 maybe don't have great fixtures elsewhere. Some teams have fantastic fixtures, but they've got a really rough fixture in Game Week 33, or potentially they even blank in Game Week 33, as is the case with Wolves, Aston Villa and Leeds. So you do really need to think about, what is your current plan? Are you bench boosting, free hitting, wildcarding? So for example, if you're free hitting in Game Week 33 and or you're wildcarding in 34, Leicester assets probably aren't a priority for you. They've not got the best fixture in 31, decent fixture in 32, but then if you're free hitting in 33, you don't get that great double for them against Newcastle and Everton. And if you're wildcarding in 34, then you can probably just bring them in 34 for their 2 remaining doubles that they're likely to have. If you're free hitting in 33, it probably means that you want to start looking at the teams that are doubling in Game Week 36, because you don't need to stress out about that Game Week 33 double. So rather than looking at the likes of potentially Leicester, Newcastle, Manchester United, now all of a sudden you're looking at the likes of potentially Chelsea, Manchester City and Crystal Palace look like the teams that will have the best doubles in Game Week 36. So again, if you've not got your wild card, but you do have your free hit and you're playing that in 33, I would start loading up on City and Chelsea. And like I said, Crystal Palace at the moment look like the team that will probably have the nicest double in 36 from like one of the smaller teams with some pretty good budget options, the likes of Mark Gehi, potentially Mitchell. You might even want to go for a Zaha or a Gallagher. So you need to really start thinking about 33 for that reason. And then the other thing is, if you still have your bench boost, you probably need to either keep money on the bench, so don't start bringing in the likes of Gelhardt, the likes of really cheap players on your bench, or you just use it in 33 and then you can start to take some money out of your bench. So as a result, I think it's best for you to just go sit down and think, what do I want to do for 33? Do I want to use my final free hit, or do I want to keep it for 36 or 37? If I don't have a free hit, then really you do need to start bringing in the likes of Leicester, maybe some Newcastle players as well, maybe even a couple of Manchester United players, and start looking at it that way. So do let me know down below, what's your current plan for 33? My current plan is I'm likely to still free hit in 33, and as a result, I'm not as stressed, because I'm also wildcarding in 34. I'm not as stressed about bringing in the likes of Maddison and Barnes, even Newcastle players, because I'll free hit them in 33, and then if I want them from 34 onwards, I can always bring them in on my wildcard. So do let me know down below what your plan is for 33. But for the remainder of the video, all of the decisions and suggestions that I'm making will all revolve around whether you need players for double 33, or if instead you want to focus on the doubles in sort of 35, 36, and 37. Right, let's discuss two of the best teams in the league with some of the best players in the league, and I'll try and explain why I think that these might be worth targeting over the immediate game weeks and also across the remainder of the season as well for some different reasons. So I personally think, and it is an opinion, obviously everything in FPL is an opinion because we can't predict the future, but I actually am of the opinion that those FPL managers that start loading up on Chelsea, Man City, also Liverpool players as well, but most of us will already own sort of 2 or 3 Liverpool players, I think you will do pretty well for the back end of the season, and I think we need to not get too carried away with all of the double game weeks in sort of 33, 31 as well. And it is worth noting that both Chelsea and Manchester City will have double game weeks for the remainder of the season as well. Chelsea will have 2, Manchester City will have 1. So I personally think that sooner rather than later, it's probably worth looking at bringing in these players for slightly different reasons. So starting with Chelsea, the immediate fixtures for Chelsea are really nice. They've got Brentford, Southampton, Arsenal, West Ham, Everton, sort of Wolves over the next sort of 5 or 6 fixtures. Those are really good fixtures for a team that continue to play well across the season. Now, the only sort of limitation with Chelsea is that they're probably a little bit too far away from Liverpool and City to sort of strive for second and first. Personally, unless Liverpool and City start really slipping up and Chelsea win the remainder of their games, I would be surprised if they catch either of those. But I would also be surprised if Chelsea slip up enough and Arsenal win enough games that Chelsea would slip out of third. And even if they slip out of third, they're definitely not slipping out of fourth. So all of that's to basically say that I think Chelsea have locked down third, and as a result, they might start to prioritise the Champions League a little bit more. We'll have to wait and see what the situation is in the Premier League and the Champions League, but that is my only slight worry with Chelsea. And they, of course, have a lot of attackers in their team. The defence is slightly more nailed on, I would say, but the attackers in their team, there's definitely enough to rotate quite heavily there, especially when they're all fit with the likes of Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz, Mount, Werner, Lukaku, right? They've got so many options. Hudson-Odoi. When everyone's fit, they've got multiple options in that attack. So it would worry me slightly, but I do still think that that wouldn't put me off enough to just completely avoid them altogether. The other reason that I like Chelsea so much is that they've actually got 2 fixtures to be rearranged, and it looks like, at least at the time of recording this, it looks like they'll have a double game week 36 and a double game week 37, but that could either be in 35 or 34 as well. It depends on Champions League, depends on sort of progression in other competitions, but it looks like definitely they'll have a double game week in 36. Then that other fixture against Leeds could go into various game weeks, but I think it will be Wolves, Leicester, double game week 36, and then that Leeds game will go into the game week 37. So what they'll have is a double in 36 and 37. Regardless of when these fixtures go in, though, they will have 2 double game weeks for the remainder of the season because they've got 2 fixtures to be rearranged. So with Chelsea, not only are you getting good immediate fixtures against Brentford and Southampton, you're also getting 2 double game weeks later on in the season. So I really like Chelsea. Man City, again, have really nice fixtures, but Manchester City's fixture run that is so nice is actually a little bit later. So Burnley's obviously a great fixture in 31. Man City like to have their annual spanking of Burnley. They tend to beat them sort of 4 or 5-0. So that could be an absolute sort of field day for Manchester City assets there. They've obviously got Liverpool in 32. That wouldn't necessarily put me off. That game could easily be 4-4. It could easily be 0-0. We don't really know which way that game will go, whether it will be quite open or quite closed. I think that depends on if there's an early goal. I think both teams will come out of their shell a little bit, and that could be sort of goals galore there. Where their fantastic fixture run starts, I would argue, is 33. The only thing with 33, of course, is that there's a lot of double game weeks, and as a result, I think a lot of us will potentially be looking at the teams that are doubling as opposed to City. Really, though, it's 34 to 36 that looks so good for Manchester City, especially considering the fact that they're likely to have a double in 36. Now, that could be Newcastle and Wolves, or it could be that West Ham game switches from 37 into 36 and the Wolves game goes into 37. So I think Manchester City will have a double of either Newcastle at home and West Ham away, or a double of Newcastle at home and Wolves away. Either way, that's a pretty nice double game week. So if you haven't got a free hit to use in 36 and you haven't still got a wild card left, bringing in Manchester City net players now means you get Burnley. You also get them for that nice run from 34 and 35, and you probably get a double game week in 36. So I think as a result, I'm not necessarily saying you need to triple up on both teams, but I would be looking personally, in my 34 wildcard, remember I'm wildcarding in game week 34, I'm looking at least 4 or 5 players from Chelsea and Manchester City in my wildcard. And yes, there are teams with more fixtures such as Leicester, Burnley and Everton, but when you're getting still quite a few fixtures in the back end of the season for these teams, specifically with Chelsea, and teams with Obviously, fantastic assets with good underlying statistics. I think they're worth targeting. With respect to which players I would be targeting from these teams, obviously there are about sort of 10 to 12 players you could be talking about here. But if I had to sort of list my top 3 players from each team, for Chelsea, it would definitely be James, Mount and Havertz. I think they are the top 3 players. It does, of course, depend on James's fitness. James is in full training. At the time of recording this, there has been pictures of him in full training, but it depends how well you think he's going to perform in the back end of the season, how much you think he'll be sort of saved for the Champions League, and how much football you think he'll get. And then for Manchester City, I still think that the top 3 players for me are Cancelo, Foden and Mahrez. I think De Bruyne would be on there, but I'm not putting De Bruyne in because he's so much money. And I think if you've got that second premium spot, it's likely that you've got Salah and Kane. Maybe you've got enough team value to have 3 premiums, but I think likely you've got Salah and Kane at the moment. So I've just put Cancelo, Foden and Mahrez on there for me. So they're the top 6 options. With respect to which of these I think you should be prioritising, like I said, I actually think that in the immediate game weeks, I think Chelsea's fixtures are slightly better. So Brentford and Southampton, I think, are slightly better than Burnley and Liverpool. And I think where you really want to target those Manchester City assets is from 34 onwards. So I think you could potentially prioritise Chelsea players now, and then after. So, for example, if you're free hitting in 33, get Chelsea players in for 31 and 32, free hit 33, and then prioritise Manchester City players from 34 onwards. So I think maybe slightly Chelsea players. But with respect to the underlying statistics, James is an absolute standout option. As you can see, he's got the highest expected assists on this list. That puts his non-penalty expected goal involvement as better than Havertz, better than Cancelo, and almost as good as Mason Mount and Mahrez, which is absolutely ridiculous, considering as well the fact that Mount and Mahrez are likely to come off slightly earlier, whereas when James plays, he's likely to sort of see out 80, 90 minutes. He's got incredibly good underlying statistics, and that puts his expected FPL points per 90, because that obviously takes into account clean sheets as well, as the best on this list. So with James, you're getting clean sheets plus some of the best underlying statistics on here from an attacking perspective. So I genuinely do think if James is fit, considering his price, considering the fact he gets clean sheets as well, even with the potential rotation, as we saw, he can get those monster hauls. I personally think that James is worth targeting as a result, and probably one of the priority transfers in, assuming he's fully fit. Outside of that, Mount and Havertz both have pretty good underlying statistics, but Mount definitely stands out as the one with better underlying statistics across the entirety of the season. What I would say with Mount and Havertz, as I said on the Fantasy Football Fix channel earlier on in the week, Mount is slightly less now than Havertz at the moment. So across the season, Mount's actually played slightly more minutes, as you can see, and he's been slightly more nailed on. But more recently, Havertz has really nailed down that number 9 spot. And in more recent weeks, his underlying statistics are actually slightly better than Mason Mount. So across the season, I would say Mount stands out as the slightly better option. But in more recent weeks, and in my personal sort of gut feeling at the moment, I would actually be leaning towards Kai Havertz. As you can see, 6.31 touches in the box per 90. He's getting 0.69 big chances per 90 as well. His non-penalty expected goal involvement is higher than Mason Mount's. So for me, I would just about lean towards Havertz over Mount, but I think both are fantastic options. And if you're wildcarding this week, you could quite easily, if you're not free hitting in 33, you could quite easily go for Mount and Havertz. Sorry, if you are free hitting in 33, you could go for Mount and Havertz on the double up, and I really like that. So that's something to consider there. With the Manchester City assets, obviously we know Cancelo's fantastic. The midfielders between Foden and Mahrez, it is a really tricky one. Foden's actually got the best underlying statistics on this list by a little bit of a distance, to be honest. You can see his non-penalty expected goal involvement is 0.43, which is incredibly impressive. He's got the non-penalty expected goal involvement of 0.65, which for 7.8 million is highly impressive. So if you're looking at pure sort of underlying statistics, non-penalty, I think Foden's the standout on this list. I do think that he should start game week 31 against Burnley, but it might be that he's saved for game week 32. And in a similar fashion to the Chelsea players, we don't know if Pep will be prioritising the Champions League. Either way, though, because of how good Liverpool have been recently, and because they are right on the tail of Manchester City, I think that Pep's basically got to play strongest 11 in the Premier League. And as a result, I think Foden will continue to start the majority of games. So I think Foden, with respect to underlying statistics, is probably the standout option on this list. However, Mahrez is also putting up very good non-penalty expected goal involvement, and he's on penalties as well. So that's why his touches in the box per 90 is absolutely elite at 7.53. He's got the best big chances per 90 at 0.82. He's got the second best non-penalty expected goal involvement, second best non-penalty expected goal involvement, and he's also got the second best expected FPL points per 90. This is because he's on penalties. So if Manchester City get penalties with Mahrez on the pitch, contributing as well to his non-penalty expected goal involvement, I do think that Mahrez is almost as good, if not a better option than Foden. But if you take penalties out the equation, I'd actually say Foden for his price is the better player on this list. So there are your options. This is basically to say, please don't neglect Manchester City and Chelsea players. Even if you think there's going to be slightly more rotation with Tuchel and Pep due to the Champions League, I still think it's worth taking a risk with a couple of these players. And at the very least, I would personally have in the back end of the season, James, Cancelo, and then one midfielder from this list. That's my personal opinion on it. James, Cancelo, and then I would say probably Havertz and Foden are my standout options. So on my wild card, I'm in 34, I'm likely to have James, Cancelo, Havertz, Foden, and then maybe another player. But those four are pretty locked in on my Game Week 34 wild card. Let me know down below, are you considering any players from Chelsea, Manchester City, or are you looking towards players that are more nailed and potentially have more fixtures in the likes of Everton and Burnley? Speaking of Everton and Burnley, let's take a look if they're worth it for Game Week 31 and beyond. So we've just discussed two of the best teams in the league with two teams with sets of players that have some of the best underlying statistics in the league. Let's go to the other end of the league now and discuss Burnley and Everton. And I think obviously they are the only two teams to have a double in 31. And they are two of only three teams that have 3 double game weeks remaining across the season. So remember, Burnley, Everton and Leicester. If you watched my end of season guide, you'll know this. Burnley, Everton and Leicester are the 3 teams with 3 double game weeks left across the remainder of the season. With Burnley, we know 2 of their double game weeks, 31, 33, and then it's just where that Villa fixture will fit in, potentially in 34 or 35. So in the next sort of 5 or 6 weeks, Burnley could have 3 double game weeks. Everton, the only double game week we've had confirmed is 31. They've then got Crystal Palace and Watford to be fit in somewhere else. That means that almost definitely they'll have a double in 36. Again, it's just where the other fixture will go in. Potentially, again, 34, 35, also could be in 37. So these are the 2 teams to look at here. The main sort of attraction to these 2 teams, again, is that they have so many fixtures. So on top of some teams, such as like a Brentford that don't have any fixtures remaining, they'll have 3 extra fixtures. And on top of most teams, again, teams like Manchester City, they'll have an extra 2 fixtures. Now, I don't think necessarily alone that's enough to bring in these players. You do also want some kind of underlying statistics to support this. But we know that Burnley and Everton as teams don't generally have the best underlying statistics. From a defensive perspective, neither of these teams are in the top half of the league. So it really comes down to, do you want to take a punt and maybe have some of these players as sort of 4th or 5th choices in the defensive midfield, and then maybe as like a 3rd striker in your team? And for me, that would be my advice. I would not be targeting Burnley and Everton players to be starting every week for you. What I would do is I'd have them in your team, so that when they don't have those doubles and they've got slightly trickier fixtures, you can put them 2nd and 3rd sub. But when they do have those doubles, you don't mind playing them ahead of maybe some of your cheaper players. Like this week, you wouldn't necessarily mind playing someone like a Gordon, Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison ahead of a Rafinha. I don't mind that, but I would never be putting these players in instead of the likes of like a Cancelo, James, Havertz, Mount. That's my personal opinion on it. What I've done here is I've selected, the top 3 players from each of those 2 teams in my personal opinion. So from Burnley, assuming that Ben Mee is fit, I do think Ben Mee's the best defender. I then think that the best 2 attackers are probably Rodriguez and Weghorst. I don't mind Cornet, but his underlying statistics really are quite poor. And he's just such an injury-prone player. And even when he's not injured, I don't think he's necessarily now to start, because I do think that they want to save him and I think they want to ease him back in. So Cornet is probably tied with Rodriguez for that spot, but Rodriguez, as we'll discuss in a second, has better underlying statistics by some distance. So for me, it's Mee, Rodriguez and Weghorst. And then from Everton, it's Gordon, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, and we will discuss those 3 as well. So starting with the Burnley players, like I said, Ben Mee does have the best underlying statistics. Roberts also has decent underlying statistics, but I think combination of being nailed, also being decent from set pieces as well, with some of the opposition that they've got coming up, I do think that Ben Mee's the best player, assuming he's fit. We'll have to see if Sean Dyche gives us anything. He normally says that these players are touch and go. If you have any doubt, you can go for Tarkowski, but Tarkowski's got nowhere near the underlying statistics of Ben Mee. You can see Ben Mee's underlying data is very good. He's got 0.1 non-penalty expected goals per 90, which is really good. That puts his non-penalty expected goal involvement at 0.14, which is almost as good as Gordon. He's got the 2nd best expected FPL points per 90 as well. That shouldn't be in bright green, but you can see 2nd best or 3rd best, underlying data with respect to expected FPL points per 90. So I do think that Ben Mee's a fantastic option in defence, assuming he's fit. With respect to the 2 attackers, Weghorst actually has pretty poor underlying data. So you can see he's got non-penalty expected goal involvement of 0.32. His non-penalty expected goals is 0.23. And he's only getting 2.5 touches in the box. So I really wasn't very impressed by this looking at his data. But he does have the 2nd best expected goals on this list. So listen, Weghorst has a lot of fixtures coming up, but these are not promising underlying statistics. Now, Jamie Vardy, as just an example, doesn't need many touches. So Jamie Vardy tends to get 3 or 4 touches in the box per 90, even in some of his best seasons. So Weghorst could potentially sort of recapture that sort of Vardy-esque form, and he could just be getting goals from a few touches. But as we've seen so far, he's not getting many opportunities, and he's not scoring the opportunities he does get. So I think that Weghorst could potentially be a trap, but due to the amount of fixtures he's got, he might be worth going for anyway. What I wanted to draw your attention to is for 1.2 million pound cheaper, Rodriguez actually has better underlying statistics. So he's got pretty much the same non-penalty expected goal involvement, but he's also got significantly better expected assist per 90. So that puts his non-penalty expected goal involvement as the best on this list out of all of the options at 0.39. Now, I wouldn't say 0.39 is great, but that's pretty similar to Havertz, his underlying statistics. Now, the worry with Rodriguez is that he's not nailed to start, and even when he does start, he can come off early. So I think he'll probably see less minutes than Weghorst, but it might be worth taking a risk on him for 5.2 million. I think he's a decent option at that price. What I would say is that someone like Cucho Hernandez, who we're not going to discuss here today, has pretty decent underlying statistics and also has some pretty decent fixtures coming up for Watford as well at a similar price to Rodriguez. So it might be that you want to go for Cucho Hernandez instead as opposed to Rodriguez. Obviously, Hernandez also has some good double game weeks coming up as well. So they're the options from Burnley. None of them are particularly inspiring. I would probably say that Weghorst is the safer option just about. But I would not mind a cheeky punt on Rodriguez. And I think if you're going for a defender, you've got to hope Mees fit, because for me, he's the best Burnley defender by some distance. With respect to the Everton players that you have to choose from, I've put Gordon on this list just because he's so cheap at 4.5 million. And his underlying data is not actually that bad. He's got 0.11 for expected goals and expected assists. That puts his expected goal involvement at 0.22. I think he's fairly nailed on in that team. And I just think, like I said, I've currently got Gordon. He's my 5th midfielder. But for this week, I've currently got Gordon in there ahead of my 3rd striker. So I'm playing a 3-5-2. I've got Gordon in there instead of King. Don't ask me why I've still got King in my team. But I've got Gordon in there instead of King. And then in every other week, I'll just sort of demote Gordon back to the bench. And I think he's a great option as a result. So I do think you can do a lot worse than Gordon as a 5th midfielder. But the only issue with Gordon is there are so many good midfielders to choose from. Right, I could probably list 15 or 20 midfielders for the back end of the season that I would want on my wildcard. And as a result, you got to decide, do you want to waste a 5th midfield spot on Gordon, considering that after this week, he's got Manchester United, Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea in the 4 fixtures after that. Of course, you might have a double game week in 34 or 35, and you definitely probably have a double game week in 36. But in the immediate fixtures after 31, not as great for Gordon there. And then I've got the 2 strikers on the list. We've got Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. They've actually got remarkably similar underlying statistics. So you can see their non-penalty expected goal involvement is identical. It's a very different split, though. So Richarlison's is sort of equally made up pretty much of expected goals and expected assists, which I guess means he has more route to points. Whereas Calvert-Lewin's always had a pretty low expected assist total, but his expected goals, I should say, non-penalty is the best on this list. The thing that makes Calvert-Lewin's other underlying statistics look great, so if I just turn my chair a little bit, you can see 5.2 expected FPL points per 90 is the best on this list. Best touch in the box, best big chances per 90. The reason he's got great underlying statistics everywhere else, apart from non-penalty expected goal involvement, is that he's had, I think, 3 penalties he's had this season. It might have been 2. And that obviously boosts up the underlying statistics massively. So obviously you get a massive boost in your expected goal involvement. You're getting more touch in the box. Each of those is considered a big chance. So as a result, the rest of his statistics are bumped up. So what I would say is just be careful when you're looking at Calvert-Lewin's statistics that they're not actually as great as they look when you remove the penalties. Now, it is great that he's probably on penalties, but Weghorst is potentially on penalties as well. We just need to wait to see for Burnley to actually get a penalty. But I would say that Calvert-Lewin's still probably just about the best striker on this list for me if he's playing every minute, due to the fact that he's got pretty good underlying statistics when they're non-penalty. Put penalties into the equation, it does boost it up a little bit more. All of this to be said, none of these have particularly inspiring underlying statistics. I don't look at any of these and think, yes, I need to own them for the remainder of the season. What I would say is don't fall into the habit, though, of completely disregarding players that aren't that good from teams that aren't that good just because other teams have better players with better underlying statistics. They do still have a lot of fixtures to be remaining. You're still getting an extra 3 fixtures on top of some teams, and you are probably going to want to own some of these players for their double game weeks coming up. So what I would advise is build a strong team with teams that not only double, but have good underlying data as well. The likes of Arsenal are a fantastic example because they've still got 2 double game weeks to come. They're putting up great underlying data. They've got something to play for. Load that up with a couple of City, couple of Chelsea, couple of Liverpool players as well. If you build a strong team of 7 or 8 players from those sort of 4 or 5 teams that have a lot to play for with good players, and then just fill in those final few spots with Burnley and Everton players, I think you'll be fine. And Leicester players as well, of course. Leicester have a lot to play for too, but they obviously don't double in 31. So that's my personal opinion on it. I wouldn't disregard these players. If I had to choose 2 players to go with from these here, I would say Gordon's definitely on the list. Of course, I'm slightly biased because I own Gordon, but it's purely just because of his price. And then I would probably just go for one of the other attackers. It's up to you whether you want to go for Rodriguez, Weghorst, Richarlison, or Calvert-Lewin. I think I just about prefer, across the remainder of the season, Everton. because I just think the fixtures are slightly better, and I think that Everton are a slightly better side than Burnley. But in the immediate weeks, I don't think you can overlook Burnley. I think a double in 31, Norwich in 32, a double in 33, then Wolves and Watford in 34 and 35. And like I said, that Villa fixture could go into 34 or 35 too. I think you've just got so many fixtures and good fixtures as well that I guess I would probably recommend either Rodriguez or Weghorst. It's up to you which one you want to go for. Just note that both Rodriguez and Weghorst are unlikely to see out 90 minutes, and Rodriguez in particular is slightly less nailed on to start the games for Burnley. But let me know down below, you considering any Burnley or Everton players, or are you just completely avoiding both of them? I don't really blame you either way. So guys, as always, I like to caveat by saying when I've created wildcard drafts that I don't give this nearly as much thought as I would if I were actually wildcarding. Right? I'm not wildcarding in 31, so I've only sat down to make this video. I've tried doing a little bit of research to work out rotations, etc., to think about future weeks. But when I'm doing my own wildcard, and when you should be wildcarding, you should be giving it much more thought than just maybe an hour of sitting down and planning. So do bear that in mind. Maybe there are slightly sort of suboptimal picks here, but these are generally along the lines of what I would be doing. And also the other reason that I struggle to give advice here is that people have different chips left. Do you have a free hit left? Do you have 2 free hits left? Do you have a bench boost left? Even if I know what chips you've got left, it comes down to personal opinion as to when you want to play those chips. Free hit, you're going to play that in 33, 36, 37. Again, if you watch my end of season guide, there are so many possible combinations of chips that you can play in different weeks that you could play them. So do bear that all in mind. The other thing I should note is that I made these teams and screenshotted them before the news that Trent is out, probably almost definitely for 31, potentially for 32 as well. What I would personally do if I were wildcarding at the moment is I would have a placeholder in Trent's place, and I would leave enough money in the bank to bring Trent back in. So you can either keep Trent in your team and just use a bench player, or I would put a placeholder in, but I definitely leave enough money in the bank because you are going to want Trent back. They've got a double game week to come at some point, almost definitely in 36. They've got decent fixtures for the remainder of the season. And due to the fact that they're in an absolute sort of manic title race with Manchester City, they're going to play their full strength team. So I would want Trent back in sooner rather than later, and I would not leave it to chance that you'll have enough transfers and you'll just remove money from one spot to bring him back in. So I think you've got 2 options there for that spot. 3 options: keep Trent and use a bench player, but as you can see in this draft, the bench player is a bit naff. Just put Robertson in or Van Dijk in as a placeholder, keep that Liverpool player in your team. Or, and I'd probably be tempted to do this due to the fact that they've got Burnley in 31 and also a decent fixture in 33, maybe put someone like a Diaz or Laporte in, have a double up on the Manchester City defence, and then you can just, like I said, leave sort of like 2 million in the bank to go back to Trent if you want to. So please leave enough money in the bank, but for now I've just got Trent in there, but you can do whatever you want with that spot. So as you can see, what I've done here for this draft is this is a draft assuming that you want to play your free hit in game week 33. So if you are free hitting in 33, what that allows you to do is it allows you to load up on Liverpool players, Manchester City players and Chelsea players, because I think if you're not free hitting in 33, you probably don't want to load up on all those players as much because they don't have doubles. Now, yes, they are good teams from sort of good players from good teams, but I still think you want to try and get out maybe 8, 9, 10 doubles in 33 if you're wildcarding in 31 and you're not free hitting. So at the moment, I've actually got triple Chelsea, double Liverpool, and 1 Manchester City. To be honest, I'd quite like a second Manchester City player in there. The reason that I struggled is just like I said, there's so many midfielders that you want. Genuinely, there are about sort of 12 to 15 midfielders that I wanted in here. And so I'd quite like to fit Foden into this team, but with the current way that I've set the team up, it would probably be instead of Barnes, it would be in there. But the reason that I've got Barnes in there is, like I said, Leicester, as well as having a double in 33, and I know you're free hitting in 33 here, but they also have probably a double in 34, 35 or 36 and then 37 as well. So they're going to have future doubles as well. And I think it's probably worth jumping on Barnes as a result. But you could potentially squeeze Foden in there instead of Barnes if you've got the money in the bank. I didn't have the money in the bank. Squeeze Foden in there instead of Barnes, and I think that could be a decent sort of player to add in there as well. But I really like the back line of Mendy, Cancelo, say Robertson for now, and James. I think you've got a really strong defence in there. I really do like Havertz as a pick. I think he's probably my go-to midfielder at the moment from one of the top teams. I've got Gordon in there for the immediate double. Obviously, like I said, then a cheap bench option moving forward. Saka, I think, is a great option because he's got 2 double game weeks, 1 in 33 and then 1 in either 36 or 37. He looks fairly nailed on. Like I said, Arsenal still have a lot to play for in the Premier League. Got to have Salah in there as your captaincy option. And then I do think that probably the best front 3 at the moment is Kane, Weghorst and Broja. Like I said, there's definitely justification to have Rodriguez instead of Weghorst, and there's also definitely justification to have potentially Saint Maximin in there if you want, but like I said, probably not if you're free hitting in 33. And then Cucho Hernandez could be a fantastic option if you want to put him in there instead of Weghorst or Broja. On the bench, I've currently got Gaeta because, like I said, they're likely to have a very good double in 36 Crystal Palace. And as a result, if you're bench boosting, Gaeta could be a fantastic option. Or if Chelsea don't have a nice double in 36, but they're likely to have one, you could play Gaeta instead of Mendy. And then I've got Barnes and Amati on the bench, like I said, for their future doubles in sort of 35 to 37. And then Mark Gehi as well in there, like I said, because Crystal Palace likely have a nice double in 36. So what I've done with this team is I've tried to sort of target immediate fixtures. I've tried to get in players from teams that have stuff to play for and also good underlying statistics. But also bear in mind teams with future doubles as well. So like I said, Crystal Palace have a nice one and probably in 36. Leicester have stuff to play for. Burnley have sort of double game weeks remaining as well. So I've tried dealing with everything with this team. It's sort of a very well-rounded team. But for me, it does rely on you playing the free hit in 33 because I just don't think you've got enough doublers otherwise in 33. Therefore, what I also did is I've created a draft assuming you don't free hit in 33, right? So this is assuming that you're going to try and get through 33, either because you don't have any free hits left or you're potentially looking to play your free hit in 36 or 37. There's not too many changes to this team. Of course, like I said, I've still got Trent in here, but just replace Trent with Robertson if you want to. The key difference that I've got here is that I've brought in a couple of Newcastle players. So you can see I've got Dubravka and Target in here. You could potentially even play the bench boost with this team in 33, right? The team would look pretty good for 33. There's enough doublers in here to play the bench boost. But outside of that, I've just brought Dubravka in case you want that. I've got Ramsdale as well, who doubles in 33. I've brought in Matty Target, who doubles in 33. I've also now got 3 Leicester players. The reason for that is, like I said, they've got a great double in 33. So I've got Newcastle. They've got Newcastle and Everton. So I've got Barnes, Dewsbury Hall, and Amati as well. So 3 from Leicester. I've also now got Sancho in my team, who could be a really cheeky player to have. Obviously, again, got pretty good fixtures against Leicester and Everton in 31 and 32. And then they've got the double in 33, Manchester United. So I think Sancho could be a great option in there too. So those are the main changes there. The rest of the team stays pretty much the same, but you've just added a few more doublers for 33. What that does mean is that you're less able to sort of target 36. So you've got less players in there from sort of City, Chelsea, who are likely to double in 36. And I don't think you can load up on as many sort of great players from those teams, right? That's the sort of the bargain that you have to decide on. That's the sort of sacrifice that you have to make. If you're not free in 33, you probably have to take out a few doublers from 36 and bring in a few more players that double in 33. So let me know down below if you are wildcarding. Feel free to drop your wildcard draft down below. Like I said, I haven't given this hours of thought, but this is the thing that I'd be thinking. What are you doing with 33? That will decide the sort of general sort of structure of your draft, but most of it would stay the same. I'd be going pretty premium in defense. I'd want Cancelo, James, and then I'd want either Robertson or a City defender, with bearing in mind that you'll want Trent back in at some point. I'd probably want, if possible, to get in a Havertz or a Foden in midfield. I'd probably want Harvey Barnes as well. Salah and Kane would remain for now, and I'd be thinking maybe around game week 34, potentially switching Kane for a De Bruyne could be a fantastic sort of switch of your premium from your striker to your midfield. But like I said, let me know down below if you're wildcarding, what does your team currently look like? So we're just going to finish with some quick fire other questions asked. Not going to go into too much detail with these, but these are some other questions flying around the community at the time of me recording this. So would you transfer Ramsdale out? If so, for who? Of course, I would wait for any news on Ramsdale. At the time of recording this, we don't have 100% confirmation as to whether Ramsdale is out or not. I would argue that if you've got a backup keeper, I'd probably keep Ramsdale. The reason for that is he's got double in 33, double in either 36 or 37, makes a lot of saves, and Arsenal's defensive data is still pretty good. So for me, I've got De Gea in my team. I don't expect a clean sheet against Leicester, but I'm happy enough playing De Gea against Leicester, assuming that we don't have sort of news that Ramsdale's fit or not. I'd probably start Ramsdale, have De Gea on the bench, and then if Ramsdale doesn't play, De Gea comes in. If we get 100% confirmation that Ramsdale is out, I would be looking at either Mendy, Ederson. I know people are against premium keepers, but I just think with the fixtures that they've got, with doubles coming up, I think they're good options. If you're not free hitting in 33, I also don't mind a Dubravka coming in as an option. And then outside of that, maybe Pickford and Schmeichel. I know Pickford, Pope, and Schmeichel. One of those three with a lot of fixtures to be remaining. I know none of those three defenses are fantastic, but they make a lot of saves, those keepers, and there's a lot of double game weeks to come. So those would be the sort of teams that I would be looking at personally, but I would wait on any news for Ramsdale. Number 2, captain Salah, Kane, or a double game week player for 31. I would not be captain a double game week player. I don't think any of them stand out enough for me. So it comes down to Salah or Kane. More recently, Kane does look like the player to own and captain at the moment, but I would worry that Newcastle actually look pretty decent. So for me, Salah's the one to captain. I'm captaining Salah. I'm going to sort of keep faith with him, but I would say that he's taken a few knocks to his confidence recently. Obviously, with not winning the AFCON, with getting knocked out of the World Cup as well, missing that penalty. I won't discuss why. The laser point in the eye was absolutely horrific, so you don't really blame him for missing that. But I would worry slightly as to his mental state. But Salah is very sort of mentally tough, very resilient player. So I'm still going to stick with Salah. If he struggles to perform against Watford, we have sort of a decision to make as to whether you want to continue to have him and captain him due to the fact that it's sort of a rough fixture in 32 against Man City. Then they've got Manchester United in 33, no double. So there's a decision to be had from 32 onwards. But for now, I'm going to be captaining Salah. Question 3 is, would you take the risk with Reece James? How many games do we expect him to play? This is a really tricky decision. Tune into my team selection video tomorrow. I have this decision to make. Personally, I think I'm going to take the risk with James because even if he doesn't start every game, when he does start, he's brilliant. But yeah, I do worry that they're going to ease him back in. Does he start against Brentford? Who knows? He is back in full training. So I think he'll probably start the game and hopefully they'll play him maybe 60, 70 minutes to get his fitness up. But yeah, I do worry that he won't start every game in the Premier League and maybe they'll save him for some of the Champions League games. We've got to wait and see for that. I would still probably take the risk with him. I still think it's worth it, assuming that you've got a decent bench if he doesn't play. Do we give Rafinha 2 more games or take him out if we remove him? Who for? Very tricky once again. I personally am going to give him the next 2 games. It's Southampton and Watford. They're 2 pretty good fixtures. The Watford fixture in particular, I really do like. From 33 onwards, though, of course, you've got he doesn't play in 33, and then the fixtures aren't that great for Leeds. So I think 33, you take him out. But I think unless you really desperately either need the funds by removing him for someone like a Gordon and upgrading elsewhere, or you desperately want another midfielder, I think you'd keep him. The midfielders that I would go for if you are looking, if you're not free at the 33, I'm looking at maybe Barnes and Fraser as options. If you are free at the 33, I'm looking at Havertz and Foden, again, would be my top 2 options. But again, you need to sort of spread the funds a little bit to get up to those. So maybe Harvey Barnes would be a decent option. But I just think with the next 2 fixtures, I'm going to keep Rafinha and hopefully keep faith with him. The fact that Bamford is injured means that he's going to be on penalty still as well. So that's something to consider. And then 35, who are the best Jimenez replacements? Obviously, Jimenez suspended now. And also Wolves, you probably just don't want to hold Wolves players moving forward. I think Broja and then one of Weghorst and Rodriguez are good options. And like I said, Cucho Hernandez could be a great one. If you're not free in 33, St. Maximan could be a good option too. It really does come down to your chip strategy. I'd say arguably Broja's the one. Broja's got a good fixture against Leeds in 31, good double in 33, and his underlying statistics are better than the likes of Weghorst too. So it really does come down to who you want in that attack spot. There's not many great options to choose from. Like I said, it depends really on your chip strategy, but I would probably be leaning towards Broja regardless. I think he's got some good underlying data, some good fixtures as well, and also a double in 33 too. Let me know down below if you have any other questions. I'll try and answer them as always in the comments, and if I don't answer them, feel free to answer each other's questions always. The more you can help out other people, build that community spirit here on the channel, and I do appreciate when other people answer questions when I can't get around to it. So thank you very much for that. So guys, there we have it. That is my Game Week 31 preview. As always, I appreciate you watching. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I massively appreciate it. And if you want to support the channel, please do just join the Ultimate Champions Discord server. Completely free for you to. If you've got Discord, completely free. You can mute the notifications if you want to, but just joining the server obviously is massively supportive for me. Completely free for you to. But I do think it's a very exciting game. Having played it myself, I think it's something that you guys will have a lot of fun with too. The team selection video will be out tomorrow where I'll be talking about, I've got 2 free transfers. Not sure what to use them on. Am I taking out Trent? Probably will be taking out Trent. But if you catch the team selection video tomorrow, I will be discussing all of that. There will be no live stream this week, unfortunately, because it was my birthday yesterday, which means that I am going home for my birthday weekend this week to spend time with family and friends. So I'm not going to be streaming on Friday because as a result, I'll be back home with the family. So it's just going to be Game Week preview video, team selection video out tomorrow. So like I said, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them in this video here. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.